The coronavirus has changed a lot of things, including how we eat. Up next on this edition of In the Studio, we meet Hanover College's General Manager of Parkhurst Dining. Welcome to In the Studio, where each episode we learn more about student activities, organizations, and individuals here at Hanover College. I'm Kyle Willis. Hanover College Dining has seen a lot of changes due to the coronavirus pandemic. Today we're talking with John Anderle, the General Manager of Parkhurst Dining at Hanover College. Welcome to In the Studio. Thank you for joining me today, John.
No problem. It's great to be here.
So it's a really crazy time to be alive these days. I mean, you never know what's waiting around the corner, and the dining at Hanover College has been reflected that due to the pandemic. What's been the biggest adjustment for you guys that you've had to make this year?
Well, we had to change a bunch of things, everything from the number of people that were allowed to feed at one time to actually putting staff on some stations that normally would be self-serve. For example, like the breakfast nook, we're making the waffles for the students now versus them making their own. It's just to limit the amount of people that are contacting surfaces. Our seating went from about 262 seats to about a little bit under 120 now. So that's probably been the biggest change.
Right, yeah, and that's definitely something I've noticed is definitely all this self-serve stations are gone, and then the bakery, they come pre-packed. You grab a cookie, you used to be able just to pick it up, but now they're all wrapped in plastic. And then the other thing is and I learned this year, that all the employees have to distribute the silverware. And if you touch it, then they have to go and they have to wash all the silverware. And
Yep.
I didn't know that. And so I just thought that was interesting because what else goes on that we don't really know about? Because for example, the silverware. Is there anything else that goes on?
We've got to go around the room pretty frequently and just wipe everything down with sanitizer. I mean, that's something that we always cleaned, but now we do it more frequently. Every 20 to 30 minutes, someone's assigned to go wipe things down. I mean, there's some things that are just very obvious. You'll see on the tables, we've got the dividers that break the table up into quadrants of 4.
Right.
Those tables were eight seats before, so that's the kind of stuff you can't help but miss or help but see. But there's other things that, just behind the scenes, what we do. I mean, the amount of gloves we bought to exchange, to change them more frequently. We're spending $5,000, $6,000 on a glove order just so that our employees can change them more frequently. Again, also with the fear that there could be a glove shortage, having more gloves on hand just in case that happens. So we've just got a built-up par that's a little bit normal, or a little bit higher than it normally would be.
Wow, yeah, $5,000 on gloves. That's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, we can inventory it at first, but after a while, you'll see them all over the place, almost to the point where you see more gloves around now than you see straws. So a problem for the future, I guess.
And see, that's what's mind-blowing to me is because it's those things that you don't sit back and really think about, what happens if we do run out of gloves, because especially with this world where you have to make sure you're being very safe about what you're touching. That's something that you don't really think about,
Yeah, gloves are kind of a default. You can always wash your hands and sanitize, so that's I guess less of a problem than maybe what do you do if you run out of masks, because that would become a larger problem. So we've got quite a few disposable ones available to us, but we also have the Hanover supplied masks that all of our employees are supposed to wear at all times.
So the biggest difference this year, like you mentioned, was the seating. You got the dividers before, you had the long tables and stuff like that. How has the amount of capacity, obviously you cut it down in half for social distancing, but how has attendance been affected by the way seating is in the CC?
I would say, again, the actual number of people on campus is a little bit smaller, but I would say we're down about 20% in the dining room. Now we are allowing meal exchange in the other locations all the time. So that has pulled some of the people, which was intended. We wanted to move people around down into the underground and out to the shoebox. We even added that grab and go station, which is right by the WAC. And as an example, today we had our largest usage there. We had 50 people pick up the double bacon cheeseburger,
Oh, wow.
which then that frees up for about 12 to 13 tables in the dining room, because the people are just grabbing their lunch and going and eating elsewhere.
I mean, yeah, when you serve me a double cheeseburger, I'm down to go eat that too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's our most popular grab and go item.
yeah, good reason. Double bacon cheeseburger is pretty good. But that's one thing. We'd always offered the to-go containers in the past, but like how are people really utilizing that more this semester and the last semester too, with like the pandemic?
I would say that the utilization's probably up about 25%. A lot of the same people use it religiously. They're always the same people, exchanging them. There's been a few new people that have kind of picked up the process, but the bigger issue is that just not as many come back as frequently as we would hope for. We do have, again, like our gloves, we do have a stash, but at some point, things will, they'll begin to run low. Again, we've been much easier this year with knives, forks, spoons, cups, plates, little cups, coffee cups, allowing students and faculty and staff to take them out of the CC. Our only hope is that we do wish that they would come back a little bit sooner than they do sometimes. Every now and then we'll find a stash here or there, and we'll track them back ourselves. But in a perfect world, we understand totally why it's convenient for everyone to take them out of the kitchen, but we would love for them to come back just as as quick as they leave, if possible.
Right, because once you run out, there's people can't get their food to go anymore, and I know you guys have been encouraging people to do that, especially like with social distancing and the amount of people you can permit in like the UG and the CC. One thing that I've always noticed is that this semester, like I'll walk in and the campus center is all full, and I'm like, oh, well, I'll just get it to go, and it's very convenient. And I don't know, it's just kind of nice being able to go back and sit in my room and watch TV and not have to worry about all the hustle and the bustle.
Yeah, we've tried to make it user friendly for everybody. I mean, some people have bigger concerns about social distancing than others. I mean, again, we're just trying to be a good steward and make sure we give options, and that's why the grab and go or the to go, or even going into the side faculty staff dining room is an option too. You can usually find a table to yourself back that way if the main dining room's full.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, options. I think that's one thing that this school really does a great job of, is providing everyone with like an option. So like in the campus center, like if you don't want pizza, then you can go and get a sandwich. If you don't want a sandwich, there's a stir fry station. And I went onto like the website and I looked up what you guys you strive to provide nutritious food to fuel, the campus community, and I think that has probably been every year since my freshman year. I've noticed that the food has just gotten better and better and better. So I think the biggest thing I'm going to say is, and I commend you for it because I personally came and talked to you about this, was getting more vegetables involved at every meal. So like, was I the only person who did that, or was there other people like talking about that?
No, there's been quite a few. As an example, I had another student who came to me last fall, and she wanted us to do meatless Mondays. So we've got a station every Monday that's meatless. So the oven might be just pizza with all kinds of vegetables. That's kind of tricky because if you talk to maybe one of the coaches, they want to have chicken and protein and all that for their athletes.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
We're trying to keep everyone happy. So we went ahead and decided to do one station every Monday that's strictly all vegetarian, so all vegetables, all non-meat. And so far it's worked out pretty good. We'll have a couple complaints. Well, I just want to have a piece of pepperoni on my pizza, and we'll do that on the side. But the way that the station's set up, it's set up for basically a vegetarian to enjoy their special meal that day. And again, it's only on Monday, so there's 6 other days where you can have all the pepperoni pizza you want.
And see, that's the hard thing about serving food is you've got so many people that you have to appeal to, but you can't make everyone happy. And so really got to find that balance.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. Even our salad bar before was pretty easy. We would just put a whole bunch of stuff out there, and people could go through there and grab what they want, pick their own kind of lettuces, their own, things to add to their salad. Now we've had to have, Patty and Stephanie, our salad prep people, actually make plated salads, which again is tricky because we don't know exactly what everybody wants on it. So for a while we were putting cheese on all of them, and then we had a few people say, hey, can you make some of those salads without cheese? So we're kind of adapting as we go, just trying to meet the needs. But at the end of the day, I think that for prepackaged salads or celery and hummus and carrots and things like that, we do a pretty good job of putting a nice variety out there, which at the end, we haven't had as much pushback. And again, I think the students and faculty and staff understand why we're doing it. It's for your safety. We're trying to put items out there that are where you're not having to everyone share the same tong and the same scoop. So it's just kind of a grab the plate and go type thing.
Yeah, and I like all the adjustments you guys have made. Definitely like you mentioned, the pre-made salads. I think that's definitely creative and protecting the health of everyone on campus. I want to talk about like the quality of the food options, especially like with I remember back my freshman year, we had a soft serve ice cream station. I'm like, that's great and all, but I don't know. And now we got a full-fledged like ice cream station with different flavors, and then the sandwich bar and the pizza, and I don't know. I feel like this place has really been evolving, and I think I like the direction it's headed.
Yeah, I'll be glad when we're past COVID-19, because to be honest with you, the ice cream station has kind of been the biggest casualty of this whole pandemic. Before you could go up and you could scoop, you have eight flavors to choose from, like you said. You could scoop your own quantity. We do station that with a staff member now to do that. So the usage is down quite a bit. I wish that it wasn't, but that is one area where people bending over the ice cream and touching the same scoop. It would just be tricky if it was everyone was if it was a free for all. So that's again, we do have all those flavors downstairs in the underground, in the merchandiser down there. But I'll be glad when we can go back to everyone being able to pick out their own ice cream and scoop their own quantities, cones or bowls, whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly. So then what's the deal with I'm getting really specific, but like cereal. Like before, cereal was self-serve too. Is that, because I've seen people go over and help themselves with that. Like
we do a better job of wiping those handles down. Not that we couldn't do the same job with the ice cream, but that was one of the things the health inspector said it was okay for us to continue to do. There are some campuses in the country where you can't get your own beverages. Their health inspector has determined that they would want somebody else to serve them. We were planning on that before we first opened back up again, but we did get the approval that we could go ahead as long as the cups were cleaned and washed. And basically you're only touching one when you take them out. They said it was okay, but that was a concern too. So there are a couple areas that we are doing self-serve, but they've been kind of thought out and planned. And again, the waffle maker is just another example where you don't really touch the handle too often, but you do touch it. So that's why we thought that it would be a good thing for us to have maybe a student labor force take care of that, and that's why we're doing that. And again, our times are cut back a little bit. We're only doing that till about 11 or 11:30 during the day, and it's not available all day like it had been before. But again, that's just one of the adjustments or tweaks we had to make for everyone's safety.
No, exactly. It's just all cutting back on the risk, doing your guys' best to protect people's health. I want to transition into something where I think a very few people on this campus can remember, because freshman year, I remember the old UGG, and it was rough. You had like that weird wrap around, and then just the menu. It was very, I want to say, basic. You just had cheeseburgers and nuggets and the Papa John's pizza, which was great. I miss that, but everything else about the old UGG, I definitely like how we got the Cantina Bowl and then the grill, and there's just a lot of different diversity down there. Um, don't you? I mean, don't you agree that it's just come a long way, the underground?
Oh, without question. I kind of remember like the catacombs. You had a couple like like hidden little coves, and then you had
Exactly.
the thing that really bothered me from a looking at it from my perspective was the turnstile with the chains that were right there as you entered into the where you got your food. I just thought it was it's much more open now. We opened up all the walls. You can actually see the windows, and you can actually see light from outside. We've just tried to make it, again, more modern, to be honest with you. We took some things away that people miss. Some of those, as you walked in the entrance, there were those 4 or 5, like little private places where you could sit by yourself. But I think there's enough space there now by opening it up over by the mail room and just, giving, there's people sit in the same place. Now, when I walk around every day, I can tell you where certain people will be because I know where they sit. And it's kind of funny to how people kind of get picked. It's a new space, but they've picked their new favorite part of that space.
Yeah, I definitely like the design a lot more open, light. You don't feel like my roommate described it as like an underground maze or something.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, the secret like hiding rooms where people can go and hide out. No, everything is much more free, and it feels more alive. I don't know how else to describe it. I just like the design more, and definitely the food is way better.
Well, I think the coffee shop addition too, Cafe 1827.
Okay.
I know we had a coffee shop before in the WAC, but that was, I guess they would make a few milkshakes there and sell a few coffees, but
Yeah.
they were doing less than $100 a day, if that. And we'll do sales somewhere between $600 to $1,000, and it supplies student opportunity to work, which we've got a lot of great student workers, and I look forward to seeing them every day, and they get really good at making the drinks. I have my personal favorite, and everyone makes it just about the way I would expect it if I went to a Starbucks on State Street or Veterans Parkway or anywhere around in Columbus or some of the other close Starbucks.
So, I'm curious. What's the deal with because I went there and I have a Starbucks gift card, and they said they couldn't take it because they're not like a real Starbucks.
We're not a licensed store, so
Okay.
our POS system isn't linked to Starbucks corporate,
Okay.
which is a total different deal. We proudly serve is kind of how we're able to express ourselves. We're not really a Starbucks. That's why we go by Cafe 1827. But my goal as the manager, and Tim, our manager of retail, is to have our drinks taste just as good as they would at a licensed store. We can load flex dollars onto your student ID cards, or if you wanted to give somebody a card, I can make a gift card. It just won't be a Starbucks gift card.
I got you. No, I was sitting here. I'm like, well, they serve all their products. What do they mean they're not Starbucks? But it makes sense. That's why you don't call it Starbucks.
Right.
So, no, that's really interesting. I mean, there you go. You learn something new every day. And so one last thing is, obviously we got to mention the shoebox, and there's a lot of great things about the shoebox, but it's a very popular place, especially on the weekends. Me and my friend, we like to go out there, and we both like to order the buffalo chicken fries. It's our favorite thing. What do you think appeals the most about the shoebox to people?
I think it's kind of like a little bit of a club. I think that it's also away from everything else, where you can kind of maybe not think about school for a little bit. Our employees are, with minus the supervisor, all of the employees are students, and they've all become very good at what they do. I think we just recently got them uniforms that basically have Home with the Panther Challenge on there. It says Cafe, it says a shoebox. On the back of it this year it says 21, representing the year 2021. and I'll kind of probably get them new uniforms every year. Unlike a place like Buffalo Wild Wings where they all say 82,
Yeah.
we'll have 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So then you'll actually be able to see some seniority type stuff going on too. So some of we have quite a few freshman workers.
Kind of like that.
So they'll have a 21, a 22, a 23, a 24, and they can kind of show off a little bit. They can wear their old one to show that they're the top dog, or they can wear a new one because it looks newer. But just all good things there. I mean, it's a great place, and it really does. Now that they can do meal exchange there from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I know there was a lot of times where they couldn't exchange meals until 8, and a lot of the students would wait until 8 o'clock to go out there. But now they can go out there earlier and enjoy a meal and get back to doing their study and other things they need to do.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty cool about like the numbers and with the years, how it like symbolizes seniority. That's pretty cool. You know what I really do miss about the shoebox the most is the fact that the shoes would like hang down from the ceiling. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
I understand it was probably like a health safety thing, but I don't know. I mean, obviously it's the shoebox, so just seeing the shoes.
Yeah, we can look at maybe coming up with another way to do that. They were dusty and they were above food, and they were hard to clean when they were up there. There was where the shoes go as a comment I heard from quite a few people, but I guess I would say with the dust on the shoes, you're glad that's gone.
Oh yeah, I'm not
but
fighting
again,
that part.
it's an open ceiling, so there is going to be some dust particles floating around anyways. We can look at a way of maybe reviving the shoes, maybe in a corner or on a coat rack or something. maybe bringing them back that way.
But yeah, the shoebox is definitely a great place to go out and hang out with, and I do like the fact that definitely during like football season, we would go out there and we would order a couple beers and we just hang out and we could watch the game because it'd be on. Or one time we watched March Madness, and it's just a very fun place to escape and hang out and relax with your friends.
Yeah, we're hoping that there's some sports played in the spring that we can actually open it back up again. On Saturdays, we normally open up at 12 noon on football game Saturdays. So from 12 noon till 10 o'clock at night. So we're hoping we have a couple of longer days. And again, we'll make a notification when that, if and when that takes place. Because that is a fun, like you said, watch some stuff on TV. Who knows, maybe you'll be watching the Masters on TV or some other sporting event that's a spring event, even March Madness. That could be something we could watch out there on a Saturday or Sunday if we've got enough things going on athletically.
Okay. So before we go, I'm going to ask you one last question.
Okay.
I want you to repeat it after me and fill in the blank. The thing I love the most about my job is blank.
The thing I love the most about my job is the students. Really do. I've got 2 daughters that are in that age, so I kind of feel like I'm with them. So I love you guys. I really do. It's fun for me.
We love you
I
too.
I don't have a problem coming to work because I know I'm going to see a bunch of people I see every day, and it's fun. It's not a bad thing. This is not the worst job I've ever had. It's one of the best jobs I've ever had, without question.
Well, I love to hear that because, we really appreciate all the work that you do and all your staff do to make, our experience here all that much more enjoyable. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I have a great staff too, and I've watched a lot of them grow, and that's important to me too. As an example, my office manager Jen, she was a cashier with the company I worked here before, and she is now a whiz at what she does. So just seeing her grow from point A to point B, and there's a lot of stories like that. I got a lot of people that are supervisors now that weren't before, and it's just fun to see people develop, and that goes across the board from students to our local team members. They've all gotten very good at what they do.
I think we've learned a lot today about food and the process that goes in behind it. So thank you for joining me today, John.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
I'm Kyle Willis, and thank you for watching In the Studio.